Welcome to Herf Zone Live. I'm here every Tuesday to bring you the best content weekly. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, search for Team Shirtless Mike, and follow on Facebook at Shirtless Mike. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Shirtless Mike 2020. See what goes on in my life, and hopefully I can see what goes on in yours. Herf Zone Live is expanding. Get your product in front of hundreds of viewers every single week. Let me advertise your cigar or product to my audience. DM me, let's exchange information and get you a part of the Team Shirtless Mike team. What is going on, everybody out there in Facebook, YouTube land? I hope everybody has had a great day. We got some people starting to join us and all that. If you're watching, make sure you comment either from my Shirtless Mike page or from YouTube so we can put your comments up on the screen and everything. I got an awesome show lined up for tonight. But before I get started with the show and all that, I got something cool in the mail today. I've already opened it because I've already kind of done like a little unboxing on Instagram. But so this right here is the Big Ash box. I'm sure you remember when I had Ashley from Big Ash's Cigars on the show, and we talked about the Big Ash box. Well, I got my hands on one, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up for those who may not follow me on Instagram and so that you can see what it includes. It includes cigars, which I'll pull them out in just a moment. It includes barbecue rub. This is pork rub right here. It includes a few stickers. And so there's a sticker right there. There's a few of them. There's also information about all the cigars, plus there's a schedule for a Zoom and all for everything included. It comes with a few cedar spills right here that are shaped like swords. And so stickers are all everything. It's kind of a lot of stuff, but you have to get it for yourself. But it came with 9 premium cigars. From I know it's from La Serena Cigars, Ferio Tego Cigars, Founders Cigar Company. So 3 of each from. So it comes with 9 premium cigars in this. It's $100. So I've already smoked one of the cigars. Oh, I'm dropping stuff here. But yeah, so the way that you get this is if you go to bigashescigars.com. You can order your Big Ash box, and you can also be a part of the Zoom. There's contests that go along with it and everything. It's definitely an awesome way to try some stuff. And if you like something, you can hound the people that work at your local cigar shop and all that, and so that you'll be able to experience new boutique brands. The cool part about the Big Ash box is she actually features a lot of boutique brands, stuff that you won't find just walking into any cigar shop. So you'll be able to experience something new each and every time. So make sure you check out bigashescigars.com and all that good stuff. But anyway, we got an awesome couple of guests lined up tonight. They are sponsors of the show. You hear me read and talk about their cigar every single week. So, waiting patiently from the Cigar Hustler Universe Podcast Network Green Room, where you'll find the Cigar Hustlers podcast and the Chet and Palmer Shit Show. Welcome to Herf Zone Live, Corey Turner and Gerald Miles.
Hey,
What's
Mike.
going on, brothers? How
Hey,
y'all
what's up,
doing
Mike,
today?
my guy?
Yes, we are excited to be here. Excited to be here.
And I'm excited to have y'all. We got quite a few people watching here, and it's gonna be an awesome show. How have you guys been since when Corey first came on Herf Zone Live? Like, what did you think, Gerald, when after the first show that Corey was on?
Oh, I loved it. I was proud of my partner. I thought he did a fabulous job. I think he was natural and told the story the way it needed to be told, and had a good time with you. I thought the conversation between the two of you was very exciting. And since then, I've had the opportunity to make sure that certain people have reached out and looked at it, and they loved it. So I couldn't ask for more. And of course, we've been following you, been watching Herf Zone, catching every episode. Maybe not exactly on the night that it airs, but definitely afterwards.
Yeah.
So, we've been enjoying it and very, very proud to be a sponsor and look forward to keeping that relationship going, Mike, for a very long time. And doing some other things maybe outside in the world, in the cigar world, with you and us and smoking and just having a great time.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know when I had Corey on, what did I call you, Chris? And I didn't realize that until like after.
My kids picked that up. They're like, Dad, he called you Chris. I picked it up too, but I just let it flow because you.
No, but I caught that after the show. I said, "What the hell?"
A lot worse things.
That's why I made sure this time around that I made sure because I realized after the fact that I hit you up about us, and man, I'm so sorry.
You did. I appreciated that. I knew it wasn't intentional, brother.
Listen, my concern was that you got the Nomos name right. So you got that right, then we were okay. Okay.
Exactly. That's the big thing.
That's the easy part right there. Nomos Cigars. So now Gerald, we you weren't available last time, which was cool. So we're gonna get a little bit about your story and all that. So where did you grow up, Gerald?
I tell you, I originally started out in the Bronx. Then we moved up to Rockland County, New York, which is probably about 40 minutes north of Manhattan. And I've been in Rockland County now was in North Carolina, Rockland County, graduated, went to Fordham University, undergrad, played football at Fordham, got a great education, then went on to law school in North Carolina Central. Funny, I just ran into Antoine Reed at PCA, and he and I, we had a good conversation about Durham because that's where I was for 3 years, and subsequently my daughter went out to North Carolina and graduated from Chapel Hill recently. So North Carolina was my rooming place for a few years, and then headed back here after I finished law school. Started practiced and took the New York and Connecticut bar exam, started practicing law in both states. And I was working in Manhattan for a bit I was a corporate attorney and did that for a bit. Then I opened my own practice quite a few years ago and been doing that ever since. I started smoking cigars. Actually, I've been smoking cigars long before I went to law school. So this has been a part of my life for a very long time.
Nice. So longer than you even, have been a lawyer and everything. So that's cool.
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you. I noticed something when I was in PCA, Mike. A lot of people like to hear the story of your first cigar experience, right? And I don't know if that's something that you plan on asking me down the road, but
no, go ahead, man. This is all free. It's a free for all type thing, man. We're just having fun with it.
Well, it's interesting because when I told the story during PCA, people just loved the story, and it was an interesting scenario in which, when I finished undergrad at Fordham, I started working at one of the top law firms in the world. The firm is Skadden Arps, and I was a paralegal there or a legal assistant. And I worked in a very specialized area called structured finance, very complicated, complex transactions. And when you start those transactions, sometimes they last 3, 4, 5 days in terms of closing them. And because of the type of firm that is in New York, and any New York lawyer who works as a corporate attorney will tell you, sometimes you work round the clock. You barely go home. I mean, you may go home, a car will take you home to shower, and car waits for you, you take a shower, and sometimes you shower at the office, you don't even go home. So this was one of these big transactions. And I was a senior legal assistant during that. So I controlled every aspect of that transaction from A to Z, from the standpoint of making sure everything was done and in place, and that we had attorneys and partners from all over the world in our office in New York, and I was a big part of that transaction. But at the end of the night, once all is said and done, everybody else, to celebrate, they all went to Smith & Walensky's. in Manhattan, big steak place, had a steak, and I was there left to complete these books that you have to put together, right? And because when they're ready to leave the next day or even that evening, you have to have these books ready. So it's a task. You got to get right to it. And mind you, I'd never smoked a cigar before. I didn't know anything about a cigar at that time. And this was probably about 28 years ago, I would say, and 27 years. And I'm in the conference room. Everybody left. I haven't slept in 3 days, but I have to do what I have to do to get things together. And one of the partners came back. He was from Chicago. I remember he was from my Chicago office. And he commented on just how amazing the job was. And he was very impressed with what I had done for him. And he said, look, he brought me a cigar and he gave it to me in the conference room. And he went back to have his steak at Smith & Wollensky's. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And it just so happened that 2 days later, I was flying out to California because my younger brother had just had my nephew, my firstborn out of my siblings, the first nephew. So I was ecstatic about that, and I was making really good money. So it was a really good time in my life at that point. I was making really good money, and I'm out in California. I rented a nice convertible. I'm going to see my nephew. He's first just born. So me and my brother, we get in the car, we're driving down Hollywood Boulevard. I got the tops off. I got Boys to Men playing in the on the car. I remember Boys to Men with LL, and I'm going. Hey love, I'm going to Hey Lover.
Hey Lover.
So I'm going, and I'm feeling it. It is beautiful out, and I opened up that bad boy, and I said, this is probably the time. And I started smoking this cigar at that moment with my brother in the car, and I was like, wow, I was in love. This thing fit the moment like I've never had anything fit. And I'll tell you something, after all of these years, Mike, it has never let me down in terms of hitting the right moment when a cigar is lit. So that was my first experience with a cigar. It was magical, and I've been at it ever since.
Absolutely. Now, all these years smoking cigars, Gerald, and then Corey, we're not gonna forget about you. We're gonna talk about all that's coming up, but we're getting Gerald right now. So all these years of smoking cigars so far, Gerald. So what's your favorite tobacco region, or brand or whatever? Like, what do you typically like to smoke outside of your own brand?
Well, it's interesting because the derivation of this cigar right here, my inaugural cigar, kind of tells the story. When I decided that I wanted to, Corey and I, we vacationed together often, and we would always smoke and just, chop it up on a regular basis, smoke cigars. And one day when we decided that we were going to go out and create our own, I knew the size that I always loved, and I've always loved the Toro 6x56. I like other sizes, but that's kind of my mainstay. And I've loved the Cameroon coming through in a cigar. Now, that's not to say that I won't smoke cigars other than Cameroon, but that was something that was very particular.
Yeah.
So that I specifically wanted to make sure that it was because I've had Cameroon that's not very good. And I wanted to make sure I had premium, top notch, the best going in the cigar that I created. So I wanted an African Cameroon wrapper. And, and as I know Corey had indicated in the past, in the last interview, we worked with Manuel and Noah to create this blend. Yep. And that was a main component in the request that I had to have in the creation of my inaugural cigar. So that tells you where I'm at in terms of what I wanted to have my initial cigar with, because it was something that I wanted, that I liked.
Yeah. Now, since you do like a Cameroon wrapper, and all that, like, I take it you're a Fuente fan, because a lot of what they do is with the Cameroon wrapper, and it's from Africa, from the Mirabel family and everything. I smoked the Don Carlos Bellicoso last night because I'm not a cigar reviewer, but I just do it for the shop, and that cigar was just awesome. So it just seems like you love Fuente, so you wanted something with that Cameroon, but with your own spin to it, and all that. So,
Mike, I developed my palate. It's interesting because when I went to law school, obviously at that point I had smoked many cigars, but there was a guy one of my classmates in law school, much older gentleman, had had fought in Vietnam and had been busted up quite a bit in Vietnam. And he was one of the older students there. He was much older than everyone else there, obviously. And he was an avid cigar smoker. And he had over many years had received a lot of cigars that he wasn't interested in smoking, right? But he kept them in humidors. He kept them. They were beautifully kept. And he and I became really close over the course of classes. And he said, "Well, come over." We started smoking together, and he showed me this chest he had full of cigars. And he said, "Listen, I'm not smoking those." He says, "You can have them." And I was like a kid in the candy store.
What a gift! Right?
It was just a gift beyond. So I was able to sit and just develop a palate throughout those cigars. And some of them weren't great, but I'm going to tell you, I worked on even the ones that weren't great because I wanted to learn from them and enjoy them. Yeah. And I, over the course of that, I'm so glad of the gift he gave me. He's passed away. He had a lot of health issues back then, but he was a marvelous individual. And I have to give him a lot of credit in terms of what he did for me and offering me that, because I was able to develop a really decent palate going through all those various cigars. It was just wonderful.
I'm sure the conversations were great too.
Oh yeah, a lot of them.
Might have told you some war stories.
Well, he told me some stories, but some of them we can't really talk about right now because my kids might be watching.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if I had, like an after show type thing, Patreon or something like that.
After
but
dark.
I mean,
I'm like after dark. Yeah.
I mean, we definitely keep it raw and uncut, but I definitely respect that, because we can say whatever, but at the same time, some stuff's better left unsaid.
My kids hear my dad say a lot. Some things I'll kind of clear because other people watch it, but yeah, absolutely.
Listen, that's true. Matter of fact, my kids, when they've got other kids in the car driving with my wife, they'll first start off with, "Dad, our friends are in the car." They want to make sure, Mike, because I'll say some things.
You might forget.
That's it.
Most definitely, man. You guys have, since the last time, you guys have been on this show, or Corey's been on this show. You guys have done quite a few events. I know you've done a cigar dinner just recently, right? Cigar pairing dinner. You've gone to the Dominican Republic, right? Since last time we spoke.
Oh yeah.
So tell us about the different events, and then Gerald, I believe you were at PCA, just you, right?
Yeah, I was
at and then we'll get into that in a few.
Yeah,
I just wanted to clarify.
That's fine. Corey can talk about the event that we did at Herf and Tap in Montvale, New Jersey. And I'll go into a little detail in terms of what the Dominican Cigar Fest was like, but you can
most definitely.
The Tap event went.
So I mean, if we go in chronological order, because that's what came. No, the Dominican Cigar Fest and the Jersey Cigar Fest came first.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, the Herf and Tap is first of all a great place. We're both members of the private lounge there.
Okay.
We've had a few events since we've launched there. And this particular event, we were paired with Asbury Spirits, which is a company that distills out of New Jersey. And fabulous spirits at that event. Many of the spirits paired exceptionally well with the Nomos cigar. Yeah. And it was just a grand event. We had friends there. We had other members there. Folks from the Asbury Circle were there. Lots of great photos, lots of great conversation. And how about the food?
Oh, food was phenomenal.
The menu was phenomenal.
Steak, oh my goodness.
Melt in your mouth.
Steak.
Now I'm getting hungry all over again.
And Mike, after you've had a great steak.
That's right.
Yeah.
A great drink, and you light up that cigar.
Heaven.
Oh yeah.
So it was a fabulous event. I mean, we at that event, as we always do, we got to talk a little bit about our cigar and our journey. And also at that time, we were right on the heels of the 91 rating in Cigar and Spirits magazine.
That's right.
Yep.
So we also shared that, which is a great honor for an inaugural cigar.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
just a great event, man. Great event.
It was. It was a lot of fun, and I do want to make sure we shout out to Herf and Tap because I've personally been a member there for over 9 years, and this journey that we've been on. I like to think of them as kind of home base, and whenever we need anything, the support that we get from Kelly and Fenton over in at the Herf and Tap has just been phenomenal, and really, really, they put on a great event. They make sure that, obviously the cigar is sold there, so anyone can come in and enjoy themselves. And it doesn't stay on the shelf. I mean, it just flies off the shelf, our cigar. But they make sure that everyone understands that Nomos, this is the home of Nomos. And we really appreciate that. So, and it just makes for a inviting an arena to be in. At the same time, business is being done and money's being made. So you can't ask for more than that.
You can't ask for more. And just like using a sports reference, that's almost like home field for us.
Oh yeah.
So it's a great time, man. Great event. And then we go back a little bit, Gerald, and we look at that. So what happened, Mike, is the same weekend that the inaugural Dominican Cigar Fest was going on. The inaugural New Jersey Cigar Fest was also going on. So we split up so that we could handle both events and have a presence. And it was a great weekend. Great weekend.
So I went out there to DR, and as you know, our cigar is a Dominican cigar. It's made by Law Orders, our manufacturer, and Manuel Ano, again, is our master blender. And during our journey in trying to perfect the blend and finding a master blender that would be able to create the cigar that I wanted him to create, there was a lot of time spent, and there still is, in the Dominican Republic, specifically in the Tamboril area of Dominican Republic, which is where you'll find an inordinate amount of manufacturers. Anything that pertains to this cigar, you'll have vendors there that can work with you. So we did a lot in Tamboril, and ultimately they started. There's always been Pro Cigar, and everyone knows that the Pro Cigar event takes place out there. The group of manufacturers and individuals that are involved in Pro Cigar, it's a limited group. Whereas within Dominican Republic, specifically Tamboril, it's an onslaught of, there's so many different small manufacturers, mid-sized manufacturers, and they wanted to have a presence, and all of them primarily are located in Tamboril. So I guess what was determined is the organization that put it together, they wanted to have that first showing of some of the smaller to mid-sized to even larger manufacturers that may not have been a part of Pro Cigar, to give them time to shine, right? And we were included in that process. We became members of the association, and as a result, we had a booth out there. And again, it was inaugural, so it was their first time, and I learned a lot, and that's one of the key things about what this experience has been, is this learning curve that we keep running into, and we knock it out the box each time we run up against something, but it's a learning curve. And going out there, the people out there were very helpful. We had to do a lot of things on the fly, setting up our booth. There are things that I thought would be available that weren't, and I had to then scramble to find vendors that would be able to get things done so that we had a beautiful showing on that during the event. And obviously people can look at our Instagram and can see what our booth looked like, and kind of there's a lot of pictures there with the mayor of Tamboril, with different vendors that we work with all the people in Tamboril. It was a great event. I had VIP seating with the president, because the president of the Dominican Republic was out there, because this is an attempt they want Tamboril to basically be the world's spot for cigar manufacturing in DR. That's what they want. They kind of that's their push, and they wanted to make sure that in terms of regulations, the government regulations, that it was something that's conducive to them progressing in that field, nothing hindering the cigar industry. And that was a big part of what they attempted to accomplish. That's why the president did show and spent several hours there. I had a wonderful time. It was hot though. I gotta do it. Oh, the heat. That's something that they will be fixing next year. I will personally make sure that that's fixed because, oh my goodness, it was hot out there. And we got through it. I don't know how I did. I'm 300. I'm about 320 pounds, 6'1", and y'all can't see that here, but a big dude like me. And
I used to be a lot bigger. I understand. Us big dudes, like I'm still kind of big, but us big dudes, when it comes to that heat,
woo,
it's
I
rough.
I had one of those special things that looks like a little necklace of sorts with fans on, and I had a special washcloth that wouldn't get wet, but would take up my sweat. And so I needed that. That was my and a lot of water. But listen, it was a great time. I know next year they'll probably fix a lot of those things in terms of the heat, but they did a great job for the inaugural event, and I'm looking forward to it next year. You know, we'll put on an even greater show next year.
Absolutely.
So we're taking Nomos around the world, man, global.
Absolutely. Hey, that's what it's all about, man. You know, taking it from where you're from to wherever. I'm gonna take a quick break and do what you guys have me to do. Let me just. I gotta get
handle your business.
Yeah, and then so I'm gonna keep y'all on screen because y'all are Nomos Cigars. So I'm gonna read the spot real quick when I put this up. So. Herf Zone Live is sponsored by Nomos Cigars, rated 91 in Cigars and Spirits magazine. Nomos is a full-bodied 6x56 cigar that features a rich, full flavor accomplished with our high-quality construction and exclusive aging process. Once the fine cigar is born, it immediately begins our exclusive Nomos Aging Process nap. While each cigar naps, it continues to develop its unique aroma and flavor that sets itself apart from any other cigar the world over. It is a delicious medium smoke resulting from the finely aged Cameroon wrapper and blend of an 8-year-old seco Dominican filler and 5-year-old Nicaragua criollo filler. The Indonesian Sumatran binder finishes the cigar ingredients with the finest quality tobacco available. This exclusive blend provides a beautiful smoke right down to the last nub. Check out nomoscigars.com for info on where to find retailers that carry Nomos' cigars, and orders are also available on their website. Also follow them on Instagram at Nomos Cigars. All right, so now we're off. Got that out of the way. Got the bills paid for the show. So those were the events that took place, and then you're just coming off of PCA, and so Gerald, you were the one there at PCA, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
All right. And now let me ask you this, because people were calling it a super spreader event. A lot of people were catching COVID out there. Did you come back home healthy and all that? You came back home.
I was tired as all hell, but I was healthy as an ox. So no, I didn't have any issues with respect to COVID. And I do know that I did speak to a few people that said that they did get it, and a lot of their some of their members did get it. I don't know that everyone, and everyone that I spoke to, they were fine after a few days.
Yeah.
But, no, I was 100%. No issues whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I had Matt Booth on the show a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Oh, you mean the super spreader event?" And I've heard other people, refer to it as that. So I'm glad, you came home and you didn't, you were still healthy after the fact, because it's a lot of work to follow up. So, tell us about your experience, your first time at PCA and everything. Tell us about, just your overall experience with that, brother.
Well, I have to say the theme of what my world is when it comes to Nomos is the learning curve, and it's a phenomenal learning curve. It's not, as you learn and you learn a lot, and your eyes are open, and your ears are wide, so you can kind of take in and use whatever you're learning for the next time you do, and from the next, you learn from day to day. Learned a lot, had a wonderful time. And really, when you think about it, your audience knows that anything surrounding the cigar generally turns out pretty darn good, So you got a lot of people out there that were doing business, that were looking for cigars to put on their shelves and something new. And we are in terms of the market, something new and fresh and exciting in terms of our cigar. And that was it was well received out there. And I met people from all over the country and from all over the world, Japan, Lebanon, Korea, Dubai. I just met, and they were all of them obviously shared a love for cigar, and they were there to buy, but they were there to enjoy. And what kind of runs throughout the theme is people like to have a conversation. So, I had a lot of that. People said, and we just chatted, and then sometimes our booth was set up in such a way that we had a couch there, and we sat with some of the potential retailers, potential buyers, and we chatted with them sometimes for an hour or so. You just start kicking it. You're smoking a cigar, and you have some coffee in your hand, and you're just kicking it. And I love that aspect of it because it was a mix. It was standing there, introducing yourself, person after person after person. Then you have your moment where you're just sitting there with someone and you're chatting and you're kicking it back, just like you're in your lounge at home, in your lounge. So, it was a grind in certain respects, because I thought that initially I envisioned being able to go there, do what I have to do during the day, set up and everything else, then maybe have some dinner, then go out afterwards and party and really, socially work with and network with some of the retailers. But quite frankly, and maybe part of this is because I didn't have my partner here to take up certain slack, I was tired at the end of the night. I had to just get in and knock out and get ready for the next day, because each day you kind of broke things down a little bit at the end, and you get back there early in the morning, set up again and get yourself all ready and everything else for the retailers that would come in. It was a little staggered time in terms of when you would come in and set up and when they would start coming through the door. So you wanted to be ready for them when they came in. So, every day I did get my rest, so I was able to do it. And what we're finding now, which is what was expected, is a lot of those retailers who've now had an opportunity to not only be introduced to the brand and to one of the brand owners, but now also to the cigar, because everyone was given an opportunity to smoke. So a lot of people wanted to smoke the cigar first and then determine whether or not they want to make an order. And now several weeks down the road, we're getting the calls, we're getting the emails. I've smoked it. It was great. Can I get 3 boxes? Can I get 5 boxes? Can you get them to, So it's just something that kind of continues. It's a thing that keeps giving as we go, Absolutely. But the event itself, I got to tell you, we for our inaugural session at PCA, we think we did a really good job with setting up our booth and having a nice presentation. But some of these guys that's been doing it for a while and have budgets that are through the roof. Some of those booths were just outrageous. I mean, outrageous. And obviously anyone can go on YouTube and take a look at some of the interviews that were done and some individuals that were out there from the media that were showing the booths. And I sat there saying, all right, I'm coming. Nomos is coming. We will be right there with you guys in no time. Although I was happy with where we were, I had individuals coming up and telling me, look, first time out, you guys are awesome. One guy said, my first time, he said, I had a picnic basket, I had a picnic table and a plaid tablecloth, and that's where I started. And I actually saw his booth, and I'm like, wow, you did come a long way. So nice. That lets me know that we will be there. We did a great job first time out. So it was a lot of fun. It really was.
Yeah, and we had some great post conference media as well. Half Wheel, Blind Man's Puff, and someone Will Cooper. Cigar Coop.
Yeah, and he gave you a shout out when he came on my show.
Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely.
I met one of your boys out there, Cigar Mike.
Oh yeah, Cigar Mike's good peoples, man.
Oh, so Cigar Mike was awesome, man. I did go to one after party at one of the places in the Venetian, and he was there. And I'm sitting back drinking Woodford with my guys, and I'm having a smoke, and I see this one guy, like he knows everybody in the room. I mean, he is working the room. But I also noticed what he was doing. He was taking people from this end of the room, introducing them to this end of the room. And he kept doing that throughout. And I had to ask the guy, I had to pull him over, like, and introduce myself and find out who this guy was. And he told me he was a great guy. And first of all, we talked a little bit about you and your relationship with him, and you his dog and all of that. You know, we went through all of that and times that you guys have shared. And then he proceeded to bring people over to me. Look, I need you to meet this guy. I need you this guy from Charlotte. You know, this guy from Atlanta. You know, you guys need to, you know. He was awesome, just a great dude. So I met a lot of good people out there, man. I'm telling you, it was a fun time, and it was all about. It was a great combination because it was about the business, but it was also about what the cigar brings, enjoying yourself, talking to people, conversation. So, you know, couldn't ask for more. I'm looking forward to next year. Really am.
Most definitely. Now I'm
out there with us.
Beef. Oh yeah, for sure. Now, like it's like if my boss, like, I'm gonna find out early enough, and if he says he ain't planning on going, I'm gonna definitely go because, you know, like I was saying, like, you know, it's good to network, and obviously, you know, I'm not scared to put in work. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, the way y'all support me and everything. Shoot, teach me how to write orders for you. I'll do whatever. You know, don't even matter. You know,
pleasure, man. Absolutely.
And now prior to PCA this year, you know, I've had conversations, been a part of conversations with, you know, veterans in the cigar industry, and they say for like a smaller brand, PCA is not always the most economical. Do you feel that you know, with the amount of orders that you've written at PCA this year, do you feel like it was worth it in the end? You know, not just
100%, 100%, because like I indicated, you know, the cigar, and I really believe this, our cigar speaks for itself. And once you may not know, but one of the things that did capture a lot of the retailers is just the presentation of the brand. We did have quite a few come up to us and they did know us. Like, for instance, Big Ash, the young lady that works, that is Big Ash. What's her name?
Ashley.
I got to meet her, and she chilled with us for a little bit, and I gave her a cigar. And a lot of individuals that we know and see from Instagram were there, and they got an opportunity to come to us and say, "Oh yeah, I know you guys." And now they got an opportunity to smoke the cigar and see the brand and see our boxes. We got a lot of compliments on the boxes. So what that says is now Nomos is a part of their mindset. So as they're introduced to it again next year, and that even goes for retailers, Mike, you know, some retailers might have seen it and heard it and like, all right, well, I want to know if you're going to be around next year before I buy boxes from you. Yeah. I don't want to get boxes from you now, and then you're not around and my customers are craving it, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and we will be around and we will be there. So that was you got it into the consciousness of people that didn't know you. And then some that did know you, now you were reinforced in their mind as a brand. So that you can't underestimate. That is just a phenomenal circumstance to be in. And then what we have found, as I had indicated earlier, is the orders are coming in.
That's right.
The orders are coming in every day now, you know, emails and calls. Look, I smoked a cigar. I want some boxes. And we're getting that. So, you know, Corey and I have been very fortunate in this process, Mike, because as your viewers know, we're both attorneys, and we've been attorneys for a long time. And that's afforded us, because I think we're smart lawyers and we're smart in terms of our money. That's afforded us the ability to go into this venture not being afraid of cost right off the bat, being very smart about as what we do. Yeah. And not just splurging, being very, you know, money conscious, but at the same time, not being scared. We're not scared. So we come out there. If we got to go in our pockets and do what we have to do, we're not afraid of that. We'll do what we have to do to get this brand because we believe in it. You know, we believe in it. And so the cost at PCA, some of them were ridiculous. I mean, some of them were absurd. Because you pay for everything. I give you a small
electricity.
Dude, that's something that when I got to my booth was all set up, right? This is what happened. So my booth is set up. I think I'm good to go, but I had a big screen television coming in, right? And that was set up, and that was I had to pay for that, for the rental of it. It was fine. It was expensive, but you know. So I'm sitting there, and my assistant, we're trying to get our Wi-Fi together, and we're like, well, wait a second, we don't have Wi-Fi in here. So I'm asking around for the password for Wi-Fi, and I finally find out that no, you have to pay for Wi-Fi. I'm like, okay, let me call and find out how much the Wi-Fi is. I called the main area that deals with that. And she said, well, you have to go down to the business center downstairs and you can order it. And she said it was $24.98. And I'm thinking $24.98 a day. I'm like, all right, look, I'll pay for it. I figured they were going to give us Wi-Fi, but all right. I'll go. Dude, I went down to the business center and she said, no, for your booth, it's $2,498. So
My
it's
God.
like $2,500 for internet for like 4 or 5 days. So we talk about cost, but we didn't do that. We hotspotted it, so we figured it out. We didn't, but yeah, cost out there could easily be exorbitant, and we were smart about that. We didn't have to go crazy with certain things. But yeah, dude, it's an expensive process. But whatever we did spend, it was well worth it. And I would do it again every day. I would do it again, no problem whatsoever.
And then we'll have more bells and whistles next year. You better believe it.
Oh yeah, because you the crazy costs. So you're just like, okay, we got a budget for this, budget for that, and then like we ready. Ain't no hot spot next year.
No,
No.
and you know what it is? It's that, as many individuals in the industry call it, it's the Super Bowl for cigars.
Absolutely.
And so, planning starts right away. Planning starts right away for next year. And we've already started that in earnest. And when you'll be there with us next year and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, no matter what, I'm planning on going because like if my boss ain't going, I'm going with y'all. So I will let y'all know within a good amount, reasonable amount of time,
Perfect.
well in advance. Because I'm one of those people that like to plan.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm just a big time planner. Like later on the 25th to the 29th, I'm going to North Carolina to see some family and stuff. And it's been like years since my cousin passed away, so I'm gonna go see his family and my aunt and just see everybody. Plus, I gotta see my cigar peeps in Charlotte, because I'm well connected out in Charlotte. So yeah. Do you guys have any? Are you guys in any shops in Charlotte yet?
Yes, we are. What's the? We're in 2 out there now. We just that was within the. That was off the coming off of PCA. We have 2 shops out there. One guy's Preston. Do you know Preston?
Oh, Uncle P, man, that's my uncle, man. Uncle
we're
P.
in Preston's shop, so Preston knows who we are.
Okay, so I'm gonna cop some Nomos when I'm out there.
Absolutely, he's got them there for you.
I'm Uncle P, baby.
Now we're trying to work on smoke. What is it? It's not. They're not Charlotte. The smoke. It's a great spot out there, and I'm. They have music all the time. Smoking barrels. Yeah. We wanna get out there very soon. Maybe do a couple of events out there because Charlotte is a hot spot for us.
And we've already put on the calendar Charlotte Cigar Week. I know they have a big.
Shoot! They got 2 cigar weeks. They got Queen City Cigar Fest. They're like a month apart. I was actually supposed to go to Queen City Cigar Fest, but I ended up working for my manager on the day that I was supposed to be. So I had to, this was a few weeks in advance that I found out I had to book my travel yet. So I did my manager a favor, but so that's part of the reason. I gotta show love to everybody that I missed when I should have been out there, but I was gonna host an event out there, but stuff happens sometimes. But yeah, they got 2 different cigar fests there.
They just had a big event that about 3 weeks ago with the Omega Psi Phi, the Greek fraternity, the Black Greek fraternity.
Oh yeah, my boy Hollywood. He's from South Carolina. He's from Charlotte, but he has a shop in South Carolina. And I seen like there was like this club, and there was like nothing but people from that fraternity. Yes. Like it was crazy. Like
so Nomos was big out there. We had a big presence out there. While we weren't there, we had a lot of boxes out there, and people were smoking Nomos all over the place out there. So that was great. Unfortunately, we couldn't get out there. It was just too close I'm from the hills of Las Vegas, and then I had to do some running around in Boston just recently. So I couldn't get out there on that event, but we'll be there next time. But we did. Nomos was there. We were on the scene.
So
Most
your
definitely.
calendar can fill up real quick, man.
Yes.
When you look at all the months throughout the year and all the cigar events that come up, which is definitely, we've got our eyes set on those. So we'll be around, man. We'll be at those events coming up next year.
Most definitely. Yeah, like when it comes to cigar events, like the main one that I've really committed myself to going to since 2019 was the Great Smoke down in West Palm. And this past year I threw my first official birthday bash down there, and I did it on a Wednesday. And like the owner Abe, he's a good friend of mine, he was really impressed that I brought people out on an off day, like on a Wednesday. Like there was some people in town, but I had a lot of locals and those who came into town a little early, and it was a good time. My buddy, I'm sure you met Dave Arlinghoff, Cigar Life guy. I think he was at PCA. He's good friends with Cigar Mike, tall white guy.
Yes, I did meet him.
So he came through to my birthday bash. He was in town for something else, and I said he could set up his booth there and give out swag and stuff at my birthday. And but the Great Smoke is awesome. It's like $170 now. You get over 40 cigars, plus this year they gave us a shirt, a hat, ashtray, cutter, lighter, like all kind. Like so what you pay is you're getting way more than so it's always like a really good deal. And then this year it was Hawaiian themed, so and they had it inside, so they moved to a different part of the South Florida fairgrounds. So when I was there, it was Hawaiian themed, so I was walking around shirtless. I had my lei on, and I was killing it. And it was fun because just walking around, like people obviously know I'm shirtless Mike, so when they see me shirtless, like I was the easiest person to spot. So every time I turned around, somebody else was wanting to take a picture. They wanted to say what's up real quick. And what I was really blown away by was the Padron at the Padron booth. George Padron's son and his son's nephew, I forget what, like the relation or cousin or whatever, I forgot the relation, but they wanted to take a picture of me. The Padron kids knew who I was. And, I mean, they don't have reps, so it's not like they have like anybody from the company. Like we get their product, send them a check, boom. And I was really blown away by that. So the Great Smoke is always worth it. Like, if you want to get into a place, if you have the type of infrastructure where you can, to get into smoking. A friend of mine who has a small brand, Rockefeller Cigars, he was not at PCA, but Kevin Schweitzer, he's been on the show. He's got into smoking, and it will do wonders like here in Florida, because they're like one of the top retailers here in Florida. So definitely good to work with them, because you never know, maybe one day they could get your cigar into the Great Smoke package,
Absolutely. We're actually in the process now creating a database of events that we'll be attending over the next year to 2 years. We're going to be in Germany in September, next September, not upcoming September, because it's just not enough time. But Interbach is a huge international event that we would have loved to have attended this year, but it's just when I found out about it, it was just too tight. And Germany has other, when you start trying to, there's other regulatory things that you have to contend with up front, and it wouldn't have been enough time. But next year we will be there. We'll actually be in. There's a huge event in Puerto Rico in December. We will have a presence there as well. So, we're creating a database, and actually we'll touch base with you, and you let us know some of the things that we may not have got on our database, and make sure it gets on there. Now, look. If we can make it happen, Nomos will be there.
Nomos most definitely. And my friend Cynthia Gonzalez is the person over the one in Puerto Rico.
Yes, absolutely.
She's been on the show with a few ladies, and she's awesome.
Yeah, she is. I talked to her quite a bit at PCA. Quite a bit.
Awesome sister to leave. She does her thing, man. She knows cigars. She wrote for for Latino cigar aficionado. You know, she's a mixologist. Like, she knows about pairings and all that. Like, she's she's definitely up there. She's, you know, she'll get you guys out there in Puerto Rico for sure.
We're looking forward to it. We really are. And we've got a lot on the plate right now, so we're really excited about it. I want to just say I was a little remiss when I spoke about PCA and I didn't talk about my associate out there, Carlos Peralta. It was just me and Carlos handling it, so I couldn't have done that whole shebang by myself. I mean, that was a lot to get done, and Carlos really held me down out there, and he held Nomos down. He's actually Dominican, and he works for us out there in the Dominican Republic. So whenever we're there, he's a part of every meeting that we go to, making sure we get there and make sure we get there safely, making sure that whatever needs to be done in terms of translating, he's there on that end. And he also is putting together a few things for us in the Dominican Republic, specifically in Santiago, so that we'll have a couple of events there, hopefully in September, at a couple of places out there. So, you know, just definitely want to give a shout out to you know, Carlos, because he is really fabulous and he helps us out a lot.
Carlito.
Shouts out to Carlito.
Carlito.
Shouts out to Carlos for sure, man.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you know, this has been an awesome show. Like, whatever you want to talk about towards the end here, we're about to get off of here because, you know, we don't want ramblings. It's been awesome conversations so far tonight. So, you know,
well, you got two trained professionals here as lawyers. We don't ramble. We ramble with a purpose, you know. So
no, exactly. You know, the conversation's truly been meaningful. So, you know, that's how I like to keep the show, meaningful conversation and, you know, catching up with y'all. So at this point, you know, what do you guys, you know, have coming up, or what do you guys have in the works that you might want to hint at? Anything, you know, you can say whatever you want, and then we'll go ahead and hop off of here after this.
Well, let me add this, Mike. You got to look out for the new Nomos product coming very soon. We've got some special stuff coming. I'm not going to give it all away, but we're expanding the line with some great new product that smokers will love. You're going to see Nomos Cigars at all the events. Follow our Instagram at Nomos. A lot of great content on our Instagram. Not only videos, but posts, pairings. We've got it all coming, Mike.
Absolutely.
We're always grinding, Mike. We're always grinding over here. And we grind with a purpose because we love what we do. We stand behind this cigar and this blend in every respect. So it's easy to go out there and to have events like this and talk to you about our process, talk to you about our cigar, because we truly believe in what it is that we're putting in your hands to smoke. And I do feel very confident that when you smoke it, you know what I'm talking about. You know, it's not about BS, it's real. And
yep.
A lot of work went into creating this blend, and we're happy to share it. You know, we're happy to share it. We love now, you know, we're at a point now where we're getting people that will tell us from different areas, oh yeah, I was in such and such place in Arizona, and yeah, this guy was smoking your cigar, and he was loving it. You know, so that's the kind of feedback we love to have, because putting it out there, when it comes back to us, that's just that gives fuel to us. You know, just makes us want to grind harder, just grind to get it out there. You know?
Absolutely. You know, we in the green room, Mike, we spoke a little bit about music. Music, and I think it's analogous to when a new artist is walking down the street and first hears their song playing out of somebody's car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're getting that all the time now. We'll be somewhere and we'll see someone talk about Nomos that they saw somewhere else. And that's big for us, man, because the circle is connecting, man.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's just awesome. From the time I first met y'all, you know, I think it was Corey that first messaged me on Instagram. He was, you know, and I was like, yeah, you know, let's see how this cigar is. I hadn't heard of y'all before, and then I smoked this cigar, and I was like, man, like, this cigar is awesome. I mean, because I don't. If somebody sends me a cigar and it sucks, I tell people, I say if it sucks, I'm not gonna post about it, but it was awesome. So I looked up the information about it, put. I'm not a reviewer, but I just put my thoughts on it, and then from there, it's I mean, the product speaks for itself. Period.
And Mike, that's so
That's how it should
important.
be.
Yeah, that's so important because that's one of the things that I mentioned to you on our first interview on Herf Zone Live is that this is not a cigar that it was a blend and we picked up a cigar and we created some artwork and threw a ring on it. You know what I mean? We've been integral since the beginning in creating this blend. And that speaks volumes because I can speak about this cigar with confidence to anyone because this is our creation.
That's right. I think it bears mentioning right now when you look at our box, and people ask this question a lot at PCA, and we get this question actually quite often. First of all, the name Nomos. When you look at the box, you see it's a Greek lettering, and they ask, well, what does Nomos mean? Where does it come from? Nomos was a Greek deity in Greek mythology of law. So anyone who speaks the Greek language will associate the name Nomos with law. So obviously that's a nod to Corey and I being lawyers. And it was really important when we started looking for and trying, after we had created the cigar, to make sure that every aspect of everything that pertained to the characteristic of the cigar and the branding spoke to us in certain ways, but had some strength to it. So we really love the concept behind Nomos. And you can also see, people will note that there is on our box, it looks like the scales of justice. I don't know if that can be seen. It looks like the scales of justice. And to some extent, to actually a lesser extent, it is a nod to who we are as attorneys, but it also speaks to a strong belief that we do have in what a cigar brings. You see on the end of this, on the scales here, there's a cigar. There's cigars on either side, and it's lit. And it's even. And we do believe that a cigar brings equilibrium to the end of the day. Whenever you have a cigar at the end of the day, it just kind of levels you out. And it's important to bring that across because that's a strong belief that we have, that we experience on a regular basis when it comes to a cigar. And even more so, Mike, we all know that when we go to a cigar lounge, and we're sitting in a cigar, we can go to any cigar lounge in this country and probably in this world and be by ourselves. You don't have to go in with buddies. You can go by yourself and you can find 2 or 3 people. You might have a lawyer and a guy who works with horses. You might have a guy in finance, and they will all sit there and everything is equal and everything levels out. Right. And that's what this thing that we call a cigar brings to everybody. So we wanted to make sure that as we present our brand and we move out, that we encapsulated those concepts and those themes and everything about, that you see that is connected with our cigar, because you want to make sure that there is some place in this world, and I know that there is one place. If you go and you sit down with a couple of men that are smoking a cigar and talking, even if they have different persuasions, if there's different persuasions, different political understandings, it levels out, and you're able to have conversations where maybe you wouldn't have that in the world with that same individual, those individuals, if you didn't have a cigar in your hand. So that's a very powerful theme that we want reiterated throughout as our brand becomes synonymous with one of the best cigars in the world, because we strongly believe that that's something that the cigar brings to the world.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all for coming on the show tonight. Everyone out there that's watching for the first time on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and all that good stuff, and share the show out. If you enjoy what I do each and every week, share the show. Specifically on YouTube, because I don't make regular videos anymore. I just concentrate on the show to make great content that way. And I will let you guys know when we're not live so we could talk that